President Obama said recently that Senator Elizabeth Warren is wrong about TP being a huge gift to corporations. Trust me, it is a gift to corporations. If Senator Warren is wrong, then why can't the American public know the details of this very ultra-secret trade deal? What we do know is that across the board, the TPP is going to give corporations everything they've ever wanted, and I have Howard Nations with me to talk about that. Howard, let me ask you something. These are the same, it's really interesting. The same people that are behind this, and to a large degree, I mean, it's the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, it's the pharmaceutical industry, it's Wall Street, manufacturers, it's people who want to increase outsourcing of jobs. You could add to that list forever. But they seem to be the same people, and I know you and I covered this story when the union movement in this country started a program that was Buy American.
Right.
And the same people that are trying to get TPP in place are the people who put $78 million in a period of 18 months into the effort to stomp out the Buy American movement.
Yep.
Isn't that kind of what this is? It's a way to stomp out Buy America?
That's just one of the effects of it, Mike. To go back even further, since Shakespeare says the past is prologue, to look at we're now at the 20-year anniversary of NAFTA. Pre-NAFTA, this country never had a greater deficit than $135 billion in trade. Our last 14 trade deficits in U.S. trade are the largest in the history of the world. Listen to this. Pre-NAFTA, we had $2 trillion in surplus in trade. 20 years in NAFTA, we now have $11 trillion deficit in trade. The idea is that you're supposed to buy each other's goods. This is deals between countries. The reality is now, since we've lost our 5 million manufacturing jobs and 15 million jobs altogether since NAFTA, we buy their goods. They use the profit that they make off our purchases to buy our assets. That's the long-term effect of this.
Wow. Well, how fraudulent is it, Howard, for this president? I mean, I get angrier every day at this president. Now his position is he's attacking Elizabeth Warren and making it sound like she's some kind of tinfoil hat nut, attacking Grayson, attacking Sanders, attacking
Right.
everybody who's simply trying to tell the truth. Attacked Ed Schultz the other night for his NBC program where he laid it out and said, look, this is fraudulent, Mr. President. You know this is fraudulent. You talked about transparency in politics when you wanted to be elected by these very people that you're trying to destroy right now. And right now you want the American public to buy into something they haven't seen. Nobody has seen this. You haven't been able to even allow Congress to amend this. Once it comes back, we can't make any changes. We're just supposed to take your word for this, Mr. President? I mean, this is outrageous.
Well, all you have to see is who are his fellow travelers on this thing. It's Obama, it's the Republicans in Congress, it's the corporations, especially the multinationals, it's the worldwide financial services, and it's the corporate-backed Democrats. It's the Chamber of Commerce, and it's the Business Alliance. That's who favors it. Who's opposing it? The environmentalists, the unions, the health, safety, and consumer proponents, and the progressives, mainly in the Senate. Who's drafting it? This is the most important thing. Who is drafting these agreements? Michael Froman, formerly of Goldman Sachs and Citigroup, is our chief trade representative on this. He is working with 500 corporate and financial institution lobbyists and trade representatives from foreign countries to put together this trade agreement. Who is not at the table? The United States Congress, the American people. Congress can't learn because these are secret provisions. The only reason we know some of these things is because they were published in the New York Times through WikiLeaks. Senator Sherrod Brown, Democrat from Ohio, one of the fine progressives, said Congress can access national security documents easier than they can get this proposed trade deal. And you know, Ron Kirk, who's the former U.S. trade representative under Clinton, said, quote, telling the public what this deal contains would make passage impossible. That's why it's secret.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Look, the people who have written about this and done just wonderful jobs, just a few of them, Robert Kuttner with the American Prospect, Katrina Vanden Heuvel with The Nation. This president is even going after journalists who simply want to say, wait, Mr. President, we just want to see what this is. How dare you travel around the globe making secret deals that we know are going to destroy unions. We know they're going to have jobs shipped overseas. We know our manufacturing infrastructure is going to be shipped overseas. We know it because we've seen the history. We know that we're not even going to be able to enforce our environmental laws here or safety OSHA type of laws in the United States without being sued by a foreign country who says we don't want to play by the rules. Now, what in the hell is wrong with the journalist saying, Mr. President, by God, you better pay attention to what the American people think? Because if you think you can show up at a correspondence dinner and tell a few jokes and make everybody laugh, yuck, yuck, if you think that's going to change progressives' attitudes or unions' attitudes or environmentalist attitudes or consumer attorneys' attitudes about this, you're wrong. Don't you see it like that, Howard? I don't know how else to sum it up.
Well, let me tell you one of the worst provisions in here. There's a provision in here called the Investor-State Dispute Settlement that is so secret that it cannot be disclosed until 4 years after this trade agreement goes into effect. And it's not just foreign countries that can sue the U.S. This thing is amazing, Mike. As lawyers, you and I just have to shake our heads at this one. 9,000 corporations under this agreement, foreign corporations, have nation-state status. In other words, an individual corporation has the right to enforce these trade agreements against countries such as the U.S. It's private enforcement of public trade agreements. The multinational corporations and the financial institutions can sue America for unlimited damages before a 3-lawyer tribunal if our laws prohibit or inhibit their profits.
And what do we know about the tribunal is going to be put together by the industry? It's going to be put together by the corporations, by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce types, isn't it?
It is. It's a 3-lawyer international tribunal, and it's really interesting because the lawyers who are on that tribunal, they can serve one day as the lawyer for a corporation suing America. They can serve the next day as a judge where somebody else is suing America. But let me give you an example of how this actually works. Philip Morris sued Ecuador because of the anti-smoking regulations that they said inhibited their profits. They sue for their loss of profits. A French company sued Egypt because they raised the minimum wage and said that cut their profits. Now think about this. Japanese pharmaceuticals have proven to be particularly bad in the United States. The recent $3.2 billion ACTO settlement shows that. But if the U.S. requires, if we get past this generic labeling process that we're going through right now, and we required labeling that inhibited the sale of Japanese generic drugs, Japan could sue the U.S. for loss of profits. The verdict would be paid by U.S. taxpayers. It would be heard by a judicial panel of international lawyers, no jury, no due process. It's just a further attack on the jury system.
Okay, let me mention this. First of all, we're going to post a couple of articles on this site that people can go and read, some of the articles that you're talking about here. And I want to one thing that's so remarkable is mom and pop business is asleep at the wheel. Mom and pop is getting ready to they think NAFTA affected them and CAFTA affected them. Mom and pop businesses haven't seen anything yet. And you know what's so terrible about this? The average mom and pop business believes that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is there for them. Little do they know that the same people trying to pass TPP is all the money behind the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, about 20 corporations, multi-conglomerate international corporations that are pushing this. They don't care about mom and pop. They want us to become a service industry in this country where all we do is flip hamburgers. We don't make anything. We don't build anything. And we're at the mercy of whatever Europe or China or Asia or Mexico or South America wants to do. That's where this president, along, by the way, with Bill Clinton has left us and has led us. Howard, we got to go. Thanks for joining me, okay?
My pleasure, Mike.